Excellent. So, Alex Rayfield, thank you for stopping by.
Hey, good morning. Thank you.
We're going to just have some fun here today and talk about who you are and the business you're in and what got you here.
Okay.
First and foremost, let's formally give me the titles of your business, please, because you've got a couple.
All right. So my name's Alex Rayfield. I'm the owner of Choice Home Inspections and Elevated Structural Solutions. So from the Choice Home Inspection side, I'm doing home inspections, residential, commercial inspections, new construction inspections. And then from the Elevated Structural Solutions side of my business is for my structural engineering license. I'm on top of being a licensed home inspector in Virginia. I'm a licensed professional engineer specializing in structural engineering.
Excellent. We're going to get more of that history of the special engineering, but we're going to go way back, as I just said. We're going to go back to when you were just a fetus. So where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama. Yeah, born and raised in Alabama. Went to the University of Alabama, Roll Tide, and graduated from Alabama in 2013. Spent 5 years there in the civil engineering department, working for geotechnical professor, and also doing what's called a cooperative education assignment, where you go to school a semester, you work a semester, go to school a semester, work a semester. And I did that with a geotechnical testing laboratory that was in Tuscaloosa.
So you're doing a lot of geothermal or just more geotechnical from
Yeah. So did a little bit of geothermal for some high-end clients, and then also the university was installing some geothermal systems as well. And then mostly it was soil and materials testings was the majority of the job. Got into a little bit of design work towards the end. Obviously, as you progress through your schooling, you know a little more. Then after that was over, like I said before, went to work for one of the professors on campus. Was his TA as an undergrad, and worked with him to help the state of Alabama update some of their GIS systems, and also help with the overhaul of some structural building codes, because I was there during the time that the April 27th, 2011 tornado came through Tuscaloosa. And then 2 weeks after that was the Joplin, Missouri tornado. And so we were sent out to get data points on how we can improve things. And over the course of the next year, came up with some ways to change building codes and institute new things that have to be built for public spaces and or certain types of developments, like if a mobile home park was being put in and you have to put in a storm shelter, things like that. Same with parks and schools and all that good stuff.
So the biggest takeaway is kind of going back to and having a shelter that you can easily get to during the moment of
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of people stay put because they don't know where else to go, and so to have a secured structure close by, within, I forget what the actual physical limits from away from your development or your house or anything like that, what it has to be, but just to have that option there, has saved a lot of lives already.
Is it a time limit? Is that how they determine the distance?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
How fast you can get there?
Exactly. By the time that the tornado warning siren goes off to, lack of a better word, impact, there's only a certain distance that you can go, and a certain amount of people and all those things go into it.
Okay. What your parents do for work?
So my mom was a medical transcriptionist. She did that. She's done that my entire life. Always worked in the healthcare system, working for general physicians and family doctors and things like that. And then my dad started as a welder at a palletizing plant. So you take a wood pallet and he builds the machines that stack product, wrap the product, and then allow it to be shipped. So he started as a welder and floor sweeper and ended up becoming the shop manager, and yeah, did really well for himself for sure.
Great.
Yeah.
Any brothers or sisters?
I have a brother and I have a stepsister. Brother is 5 years older than me. He manages a scrapyard in Alabama, one of the largest scrapyards in the Southeast. And then my stepsister is a nurse. She just got her master's degree, is going for her, I believe now going for her doctorate of nursing. Yeah, very smart, very motivated. And she has been a cancer center nurse for probably the past 7 years, 7 years.
Is she still in Alabama?
She is, yeah. Everybody's still in Alabama. I'm the black sheep there.
So what brought you to Virginia?
A job, yeah. After graduating from Alabama, I moved to Houston, Texas. Stayed there for a few years. Was working for a large international company, doing a lot of water resources engineering, working with the bayous down there in Houston, water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants, things like that. Was given the opportunity to transfer to Roanoke, Virginia, into the structural engineering office, which is exactly what I wanted to do. I always wanted to do vertical structures. So I was given that opportunity and took the chance, moved to Roanoke, was there for about 3 years, and then just happened to, you meet people in some of the funniest circumstances or oddest ways, and met a guy while drinking a beer one night, and he happened to be the vice president of one of the arms of the company that I was working for out of the DC area. So he asked me to come work for him, and I transferred up to DC and worked there for a couple of years, and then just sort of got burnt out on DC, as a lot of people do. And so I moved back to Central Virginia, to Orange County, and in the Charlottesville area. And during that time, that's when I came up with opening up my own business.
What made you come towards the Orange in Central Virginia out of leaving DC?
Yeah, so on top of, building things and moving around the country, when I was in Houston, I took up the sport of skydiving. A friend of mine in college, Brennan Cox, he passed away in college, and when I went out to his funeral out in Dallas, I was sitting around with his dad and learned that he was a skydiver. Him and his dad were. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. Like, didn't know civilians could do that. So I told him, like, hey, once I graduate, get some money, I'm going to go do a tandem jump. And ended up doing a jump, got hooked, got my license. And since then, I'm an AFF instructor, which is like the school that you go through to get your license. I'm a tandem instructor. Worked as an assistant manager at Skydive Orange. So that's sort of what brought me back to Central Virginia, was Skydive Orange. Wasn't ready to leave that place, and lots of good things there. So.
How many jumps do you have?
Right at 1,000. Yep.
Any broken bones, twisted ankles? What do you got?
Yeah, broken a couple bones, but that nothing crazy serious.
It'll stop you from doing it?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
I went through where Orlando, went to one of those stupid fans.
Yeah, the iFly, yeah.
And tried that, and outside you're like, well, that seems pretty straightforward, and then once you're inside, you're like, little movement has me turned over.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
All right, let's do this. Something else.
Yeah, it's a little harder inside a 14-foot glass tube.
Yeah, with 6 other people. And you're like, I don't know. What'd you want to do when you were 5? Do you want to be an engineer?
When I was 5, I can give you what everybody says and go be an astronaut and all that good stuff. Growing up in Alabama, you got NASA in Huntsville, so that was always on everybody's plate.
Watched a lot of Space Camp as a kid.
Yeah, oh yeah, exactly. When it was 5, it was a baseball player. It was always a baseball player.
Very nice.
Apparently, I was hitting balls at the age of 2, out in the backyard, and always throwing the ball around and doing that, and played for, like 18 years.
Do you have so who's your favorite team?
Oh, the Braves.
I wasn't sure if we're going to be Braves or go over to Houston.
No, yeah. Yeah, which is very, very fun to watch this World Series. It was, yeah, I was, people were like, oh, you're a little torn. I'm like, absolutely not.
Not
No,
even close.
it's Braves all the way. Absolutely.
What was your position?
Played third and pitcher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you could bring the heat.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Snap off a good curveball? Or
Exactly, yeah. Oh, yeah.
did it help you get into school or just the discipline of sport?
Just the discipline, really. When I was in 10th grade, I was at one high school that was very good at baseball, not so good at school. And I, just got lucky in the fact that high school was always pretty easy for me when it came to the actual schooling part. So, going to that school was very easy for me. So I got to dedicate a lot of time to baseball. But once I got to that 10th grade age and started looking towards the future, I realized that going to this school for baseball, if I'm not already being looked at, then
You're not.
I'm not going to continue past high school at the level that I want to continue. So I made the decision to remove myself from that private school and go to a public magnet school that focused on academics. It was an academic magnet school. And yeah, gave that up. Still played, but gave up the real ambition of taking it to the next level.
Gotcha.
But just focused on the school that then got me a full ride to Alabama.
So it worked
Yeah,
out.
it worked
for
out.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure. What's your favorite book?
Ooh, favorite book. Right? The Heart of Darkness is a great book by Joseph Conrad. The Most Dangerous Game is a great one. I hope I'm saying that right. And then one that always stuck around from like younger, because it's you can read it in elementary school, but it's called The Westing Game. It's a mystery book.
I was a choose your own adventure guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Book report needed to be done. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. And then some of the classics, like I've read all the Sherlock Holmes probably 3 or 4 times. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all that good kind of stuff. Nowadays, it's all history and biographies.
More nonfiction.
Yeah, way more nonfiction. Yeah.
I find myself almost exclusively doing nonfiction reading.
Yeah.
If I can get 4 fiction books a year, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It just
Oh,
seems
that's a
to
lot,
work
yeah.
that way.
Yep.
Yeah. So I understand. If you won the Powerball for 400 large, what would you do with the money?
Oh man. I would get my private pilot's license. I would buy a very nice plane, and then travel that thing around the world.
Would you continue to work?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to. Yeah, you can't just. I wouldn't be able to just cut it off because I would get bored.
I wasn't sure if jumping out of the plane that you thought would be the job.
That could certainly be the job. I've always had aspirations of opening up my own drop zone, and going down that route. So with $400 million, you could certainly open up a very nice drop zone. But yeah, with that comes a lot of responsibility too. So with $400 million, I don't know if I really want to take on the responsibility of owning a business like that. And
Exactly. Well, you'll have a lot more relatives than you thought you had.
yeah, exactly.
If you could get rid of one U.S. state, which one would it be?
One U.S. state.
And why?
I like this question. All right. One U.S. state. Man, that's tough. there's lots of pros and cons to them all, but I got to say Louisiana. Yeah, Louisiana, it's a special place down there, with special people. No offense to anybody from Louisiana that's listening to this, but being from the University of Alabama, and there is a very big rival school down there, let's just say have had some not so great experiences in the state of Louisiana. More after when our team wins the football game and I'm trying to leave the stadium and things like that. But we won't get into that.
Just more frequent now.
Yeah. But Louisiana is beautiful, and there's a lot of great things that go on there and a lot of great people. But that one sticks out in my head. We can we'll just drop them off. I'm sure everybody wants to say Florida.
I said Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Yeah, they got it too nice.
They do have it too
So I
nice.
was like,
Very true.
stop.
Yeah.
An occasional volcano would be do.
Yeah.
It's making new land. That's all it's doing. Tell me about the time you failed to achieve a goal and what changes did you make as a result?
Failed to achieve a goal. So, I alluded to the fact that I had that free ride to Alabama. Well, at one point during school, I actually lost that free ride because I just wasn't taking the general education courses serious enough in their eyes. My classes in my major was a 4.0, but everything else was not so much a 4.0. So that was a big wake up. Like, hey man, even though you can't just do what you want all the time, like sometimes you just got to shut up and do the work. So that was probably the first big wake up of, grow up a little bit, put your pride and yourself aside from time to time and just get the job done. So that was definitely one of them.
What piece of critical feedback do you hear most often, and what do you hand out to other folks most often?
Piece of critical feedback that I hear, one thing that I hear is, that you can always, I guess, add a little more, add value, or come up with the newest thing to do. When, in my opinion, sometimes that doesn't always translate to a better product or a better experience for your client or whoever you're working with or for. One thing that I tell a lot of people is stop talking. Stop talking and listen to people. Like, people are going to tell you what they have wrong. They're going to tell you their concerns. It's, the worst conversation that I have is when I'm saying something and I'm finishing a sentence because I've been asked a question when I'm already being asked a follow-up question before I've even answered the first question, like in the middle of a sentence. It's like, let people talk, let them do their own thing, and then you'll get a lot more information and understanding out of that.
Have a little courtesy, it seems like.
Yeah.
If you could start your career over, what would you redo? What would you change?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would probably take my 20s a little more seriously.
You and everybody else.
Yeah, I would take my 20s a little more seriously. In the especially for the company that I worked for. It was a 100,000 person employee company. I had everything at my fingertips. The same with school. People don't think that school is, part of their profession and all that. A lot of people don't go into what they went to school for, but I got lucky and did. Taking it all way more seriously and just using all the resources that you have. Not getting complacent in some things, and just keep moving forward. Yeah.
So did you have a mentor as you moved beyond school, but in these new jobs in Roanoke and in Washington? Did you have a particular mentor that really helped you move forward? And what of their teachings have you maintained? What have you said was good at the time and you've made your own now?
Yeah. So in Houston, my manager, Erin, I've been real lucky when I was working for other companies that I had amazing managers. Like, got super lucky. They always wanted me to do as much continuing education as possible, to get on site, get my hands dirty, get in the weeds of things. Allowed me those opportunities and didn't try to hold my hand, because that wouldn't have worked with me. Just how I am, just like, no, leave me alone. Let me work through it myself.
Mm-hmm.
If I got questions, I'm going to come to you and we can sit down at that point. But yeah, to just never be satisfied, treat people with respect, understand that, I have a job here. We have a business to take care of and projects to get in and get out and do it, do what we're getting paid to do. But at the end of the day, like that sometimes comes second fiddle to making sure that the team's happy, that everybody's set up, with the best opportunity to deliver the best product. So I took more of some of the soft skills away from my time working under some folks, than some of the hard skills with engineering. Like, that's why you go to school. Can you do the problems? Because once you're out of school, computer programs are doing it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we're double checking, we're collaborating with all the other trades to make sure that this building will stand up. When it comes to the actual finite design of things, like, that's not a lot of the job, honestly, anymore. Is because of we model everything. We just let the models take care of it.
Sure.
And it'll spit it out for us. We double check and move on. So to be able to, I don't want to say read people, but to be able to see from physical expressions and mannerisms how a person's reacting to something, or what I can do to try and help improve that person's experience. That was a lot of good things that I took away.
Gotcha. I've got a lot of you. Now sell me your business. Tell me about the
Okay.
home inspection. What are you looking for? How do people reach you? Tell me about the structural engineer. What kind of percentage of both
Okay.
are you doing?
Yeah.
And we'll kind of wrap it up from there.
Yeah, so based out of Orange County, Virginia, and I'll travel anywhere. There's no really limits of where I'll go, as long as the business is there. I'm happy to help out. When it comes to home inspections, it's a pretty. My girlfriend makes fun of me all the time because I say it over and over, but it's a top down, outside in technique of what I used, where I'm looking at anything that I can get my eyes, hands, feet, fingers on. I'm going to open up anything that I can, when it comes to major appliances, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural, insulation, interiors, any sort of systems that are in the house. I want to make sure everything's working, turned on, doing what it's supposed to be doing, built correctly. A lot of your major manufacturers have specific install instructions and requirements that they have in order to keep warranties. So making sure that everything's installed and being abided by that. When it comes to commercial inspections, and it can get a little trickier depending on the space. Like a doctor's office is pretty straightforward, but a restaurant that might have some very high-end specialty equipment can definitely get trickier, to where I then subcontract out and bring in specialists that know this equipment, and just do anything that I can to make the client feel more comfortable, understand that I'm trying to bring as much value to the table as I can. If there's something that I don't know, I go out and I'll research it. I go out and find people that know about it. I don't try and pass the buck there. Like, I want to learn about it just as much as you do. So yeah, I mean, base, like I said, out of Orange County. Most of my work's in Charlottesville. On top of the home inspections and commercial inspections is the structural engineering. Do a lot of structural inspections for older homes, basements, foundations, manufactured homes. Do custom renovations, additions, all that good stuff. Whatever a client may need, never hurts to just pick up the phone, give me a call, and if I can help you out, then I most certainly will. Or if I know somebody that's better fit, I don't mind. Not every job's for you, right? So pass the buck and take that on to somebody else, and just try and help out your client as best as possible.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in. Of the things you see, kind of as a final question, of the things you see on the home inspection, what's the biggest, most common concern that you come across? Is it failed electrical? Is it water seepage? Is it a tree, roof?
Yeah.
What do you see most often?
The number one force against a house is water. We got to do anything that we can to keep the water out. And it also, depends. Here in this area, you've got crawl spaces, you've got basements, you've got brand new homes, you've got homes that are 200 years old. So we fight a lot of different construction methods and materials that were used just historically and nowadays to help keep the water out. So there's many things that go from the ridge of your roof all the way down to your footing, that we can do and put in place to keep water out, or if water has gotten in, then there's ways to remediate it, either through mold mildew remediation, physical barriers, regrading, replacing, lots of different things. So got any questions, just feel free to reach out to me.
We'll do it, and we'll definitely put all your contact information along with this, and then obviously, you'll get a copy to put on your social media as well.
Perfect.
I appreciate you coming in, Alex, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.